So you have waited till the last moment to start studying, and now instead of studying, you're here wasting your time watching YouTube videos. But thankfully, you clicked on a very good YouTube video, which is a full step-by-step guide on how to cram. Okay, so why should you listen to me? I've crammed for multiple exams for multiple hours in the past 3 years, and the best part is I literally documented it. And my promise to you today is I'll teach you the exact framework that I've used to cram for all of my exams to perform better than 90% of my class. My name is Safwan. My current mission is to educate 100,000 high school students, and I do this by these free courses that are released as well as my coaching program. The 3 steps that we're going to go to cram for your exam is firstly self-belief, secondly the secrets, and thirdly optimization and review. I'm going to go kind of fast because I know you're probably in a crunch of time and I don't want to waste too much. Firstly, for self-belief, the person who believes he can and the person who believes he can't are both right. What I mean by this, if you have a self-belief about yourself that you can do something, you will do everything in your capabilities to prove yourself right. The same way when you make a bet with somebody and you go, okay, I bet you that I can beat you in a race, you will try your absolute hardest to go beat them in that race. But if you say, let's say you're probably not going to make a losing bet, but let's say you tell your friend, okay, I know I'm going to lose to you in this running race because I'm tired or whatever. Even if you could have beaten them in that race, you're not going to put in your all because you have already said it and you have already internalized that self-belief about yourself that you can't win that race. So you're not going to give it your all. So when you believe you can't do something, that's when your limiting beliefs align with your actions. Because when you say you can't do something, your brain's like, okay, we can't do something, so there's no point in putting more effort because we're going to do bad anyways. It's the same way that people say, okay, I'm going to fail for tomorrow's exam. What's the point of even studying? Let me just chill. It's an absolute stupid mindset to have, and you need to get rid of it. So the first step is believe that you can cram for that exam, whether that's tomorrow, whether that's in 3 hours, whether that's in 2 days. Believe that you can, okay? If you believe that you can, you will. Concept that will help you understand this better is the Pareto principle, which states that 20% of your efforts lead to 80% of the results. This basically means 20% of the most high ROI tactics will lead to 80% of the result. This is fundamentally true for any field that you go into. So the exam that you're studying for, basically 20% of the key concepts will lead to 80% of the result. So in order to get basically a free 80% for your exam, if you just focus on the 20% of key concepts that you have coming for your exam, the other 80% of content is kind of useless, and that's basically what's reserved for the toppers. Most exams are formatted like this, and I have gone across some exams, maybe not boards, but let's say school exams, they legit take this 20% and then they make it basically the 100% results, which is why even dumb people are able to get 100 out of 100 because it literally just tests on the 20% of concepts. Okay, secondly, the secrets, which is firstly deep work, past papers, AI is your best friend, and syntopical reading. You might know how to do these, but trust me, if you watch this video, you will get a much better understanding. Firstly, for deep work, you want to do 4 main things. Firstly, study in the morning. This sort of gets added to the first 2 things, which is starve and 90 seconds to 90 minutes. So there was a research done on the top billionaires of the world, and a common trait that they saw that legit almost all of them did was that they woke up and instead of doing like a 2-hour long morning routine of journaling, of going for a walk, meditating, most of them, they woke up, they went to the bathroom, drank like a glass of water, and then went straight into work. And there's actually some science to back this up that that's when you're the most productive. Reason because your brain doesn't have any brain fog in it. Your brain's not thinking about random things. It's not thinking about shows. It's not thinking about the girl you texted last night. It's not thinking about why your mom never loves you. Like it doesn't have any of that thoughts because you just woke up. And if you can just like get up and basically go straight into work, you will have 90 minutes of intense focus. For somebody who has a bit of a better attention span, maybe someone like me, you can basically study for around like 2 hours. Like I wake up some days and I just study for 2 hours and it feels effortless because you basically get into the zone. And if you wake up and you directly go to work, another thing is implemented, which is starving yourself. Basically, whenever you eat food, let's say, for example, like carbs. So everybody eats carbs because it's part of the human diet, and it's in rice, pasta, bread, and like a bunch of other things. But like rice, bread, and pasta, it's like a common thing that most people have, and basically in all of them they have carbs. And the thing that carbs makes you do is it gives you energy, but it also puts you in sort of a slumpy feeling. It makes you feel very tired afterwards you eat it, which is why you will see whenever you're done with, like, say a huge meal, maybe that's pasta or rice, you'll come to your desk and try to study, and you'll just have a bunch of brain fog. Your brain's not going to think straight because your brain's just going to want to sleep, and that's because you've just eaten a bunch of carbs. In my personal experience, if you can, just starve yourself in the morning. Don't even have your breakfast and just go straight into work. I don't recommend starving yourself like 4 hours before your study sessions just so you have good focus, because that's insane. But my personal recommendation, wake up and go straight to work. You will be able to, my fingers didn't stop. Wake up and go straight to work. You will have incredible amounts of focus. And then 2 other things is, firstly, get your phone and then go throw it away. Your phone is useless. When you're studying, you should study always on your laptop or directly from your book. If you use your phone to study, I don't really have any options. You could maybe download something called Flora or Forest to block out all of the useless websites and apps from your phone when you're studying, if you do study on your phone. But yeah, if you study on your laptop or you just study straight from the books or physical notes, get your phone, throw them across your bed. Make sure you need to physically get up to go pick it up, because that's going to create a level of resistance to go get your phone. Because firstly, your phone is going to be out of sight, because if your phone's like across your bed, and hopefully your desk isn't pointed towards your bed, just make sure the phone is out of sight, and to go get it, you need to physically get up. Because firstly, out of sight, out of mind. Secondly, getting up and grabbing your phone creates resistance. Thirdly, environmental setup. It's kind of simple. Don't have aesthetic setups. Okay, firstly, don't have your phone. Secondly, don't have aesthetic setups. If you have aesthetic setups, they're really nice to look at, but they're very bad for productivity. What I recommend is either go study in another place for the time that you want to cram, or just get rid of it. Personally, something that I recommend if you want to increase your deep work potential is download all of your resources, print them out, or just have it downloaded on your laptop, and study without Wi-Fi. If you study without Wi-Fi, you won't have notifications, which is one of the major things. And look, if your phone already has notifications in them, turn them off. That's the main things you need to know about deep work. Secondly, past papers. Now, if you are really in like a very short period of time to actually do past papers, what I recommend is going straight to answers. By a short period of time, I mean, like, let's say you have like 1 or 2 days. Go straight to the past papers, get all the answers. Secondly, get all the past paper questions and make a bank of past paper questions, and then put them into Notion or a Google Doc and grade them every single time. Every single time you go to study, try to answer every question one by one. If you got the question right, color it green. If you got it wrong, color it red. If you got it half right, half wrong, like you didn't get all the points, color it yellow. And then at the end, give yourself a grade. This basically implements a little something called LMC. I'm going to make a full video on it, because it's, personally, I would say one of the best ways to cram, and I've used it to cram so many times, and it's kind of insane the results it gives me, because it gives you the gamification, because you see your grade increasing, and honestly, it's just kind of fun. Thirdly, when you're doing past papers, if you have time to do full past papers, you need to grade smartly. Once you're finished with your whole paper, use the same color pen and just do 3 symbols. Firstly, a tick next to the question if you think you got it right, a cross if you think you got it wrong, and a squiggly line if you think you maybe got it, maybe not. Afterwards, when you actually go grade it, look back. Were you correct? Were you wrong? Like, did you unnecessarily question yourself? Like, that extra level of thinking is going to make you have that oh shit moment, which is what you want. Those oh shit moments during exams, it's going to pop back in your head. It's going to be like, oh, I made a mistake in this one. Thank God I made sure I reviewed it. And especially every single question you got wrong, or you thought you maybe got wrong but got right, make sure you have a list of that in, let's say, another document. Because on the day of your exam, review those questions. Don't keep reviewing the ones that you got right. Yes, it's uncomfortable to go back on the things that you keep getting wrong, but that's how you're going to learn, because there's no point in reconsolidating the information that's already consolidated in your head. What we want to do is make sure we can get the best grade possible. Okay? And past papers is one of the best ways to do them. Secondly, AI is your best friend. Now, you can do a lot with AI, but I'm not here to stress you out and give you a full tutorial on it. That's a full another course, but two main things. Firstly, get practice questions. Ask AI to explain you concepts. Make some mind maps using AI. I know there's some great mind maps. You can, I think, even ask ChatGPT to make it now. And honestly, just like ask it to grade your papers. If you have something like economics, business, or English, and you can just ask it to grade it, and then tell it to give a sample answer, and then you can ask it to grade its own sample answer on things it can improve. Because as much as I could say it's better to get a physical teacher to grade it, if you don't have a lot of time and you don't have like a lot of time to mass email your teacher, like, okay, miss, give me, could you grade this and this and this? Oh, these are the main problems. Okay, let me go fix this. Okay, is this a better? Like, it will take you too much time. AI could do basically at least like a half good job of your teacher. Okay, and AI is going to be your best friend if you're trying to cram. Fourthly, syntopical reading. This is what I recommend if you have less than 5 days to do this. Okay, firstly, how to do syntopical reading. This is a very abstract concept. I don't understand this very well, but I've used this a couple times, and I gotta say it's pretty good. So if you have a bit more than, let's say, if you have less than 5 days, use this technique. Okay, if you have legit studied nothing, when you go to read something, let's say your book or like maybe your friend's notes, read a point, and if you don't understand one point, instead of skimming past it, what I recommend is you could do two things. One, you could write it down and come back to it later. Or for syntopical reading, what you basically do is on that one little branch that you didn't understand, go on like a 2-minute rabbit hole on like Wikipedia, maybe watch like a quick little YouTube video explaining that little concept. Because then that one part that you didn't understand, now you have like 4 different branches of that same thing. And you do that for every single one. And afterwards you're done with your session, you will have like a bunch of topics that you didn't understand. And those little topics, because you spend that extra 2 minutes just going in like sort of a rabbit hole around that, you will have a bit more, like, you'll have a better understanding. Make sure you keep coming back to that list, okay? And yeah, this is for if you have less than 5 days. If you have more than 5 days, don't recommend doing this. Just study normally. Thirdly, optimization and review. Okay, so before I go into this, I want to quickly mention my Discord server, where I'm basically hosting free calls every single week, as well with many like free courses that I'm not releasing on here, and then as well as summary sheets for these courses. Free Discord down below, so feel free to check it out. Okay, we're gonna do a little something called blurting to optimize. Afterwards, you have your study day. At the end of the day, you can do a little something called blurting, which is you look at your text, you read it once, okay, and you go cover it or you put it away, and then you write everything that you remember. First thing I want to recommend is making a mind map around it, because the mind map really makes you understand concepts better. And then you go check on points you missed, write it with a different color. And then right over there, you have like a page of your notes. And that's going to be useful. And also, secondly, review before you sleep. It's one of the biggest cheat codes that I can recommend to anyone who's cramming. Afterwards, you have a long day of studying. Just review once before sleeping, and then review it once again afterwards you wake up. And that way you do a little something called spaced repetition, and also you consolidate the stuff that you learned right before you go on to sleep. It's also a little something called like the sandwich method, which you use a nap in between, but I haven't used it personally. Personally, I've used this right before I go on, like, let's say an 8-hour sleep session. I'll review it, wake up in the morning, review it again, and I remember most of the things. Okay, next up, 3 points. Okay, firstly, get yourself some friends. Group study, use definement technique, which is basically teaching concepts to other people, because you will learn way more than doing it by yourself, because you will retain and understand a concept to its core when you're teaching it to other people. And also because they ask dumbfounded questions, which is why the skull is there. Okay. Secondly, get 6 hours of sleep, which is what I recommend. But let's say your exam is in, I don't know, one day. If you can't finish the content, don't try to get 6 hours of sleep. That's my personal recommendation. If you have studied like a decent bit for the past 3 days, and you're just like sort of trying to cram as much as you can today, but you could possibly just pass with the amount of things, and you want a little bit of extra knowledge, go to the point where you can get 6 hours of sleep minimum. If you literally have no time, don't get the 6 hours. Because a lot of people say you need sleep to function. Look, if you spend that 6 hours studying, I know it's not going to be efficient studying, but if you spend that 6 hours studying and learning concepts and maybe doing practice problems, you will do far greater than if you spend that 6 hours sleeping. If you haven't studied anything before. Yes, sleep helps us function. So if you have studied, like let's say for the past 3 days at least, to consolidate the information, get at least 6 hours. If you haven't studied for the past 3 days, don't get the sleep. If your exam is tomorrow, do not try to get that 6 hours, especially if you don't know anything. And lastly, rinse and repeat this process. Every single time you have a moment where you need to cram, come back to this video. I don't think it's too long, and you can rinse and repeat this process over and over again. So lastly, my promise to you today was to show you the framework that helped me perform better than 90% of my class with cramming, and I hope I've kept that promise. If you're interested, I do a one-to-one coaching program where I teach you to basically never need cramming ever again and only study 2 hours and do it incredibly well. That's in the description, and with all that said, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.